Today we continue Malunkyaputta Sutta. When Malunkyaputta asked Buddha to give him meditation instruction, Buddha gave the brief guidance. Ditte dittamatam bodhisati, sutte suttamatam bodhisati, mutte muttamatam bodhisati, vinyate vinyatammatam bodhisati. There will be only the seen, there will be only the heard, there will be only the touch, there will be only the cognize. There will be only the seen means the jhana impulsion moments will be as the same measure or same nature as the seeing consciousness. So when you study Abhidhamma, Jaguvinyana seeing consciousness is Upekha. In the first thought process, there is seeing consciousness. That seeing consciousness is neutral. Seeing consciousness is not accompanied by attachment or hatred or delusion. It is a product of your past karma. You see good things because past life you have done very good deeds. You see bad things because you have some bad deeds in the past. So it is not productive and it is neutral, neither wholesome nor unwholesome. It is vibhaka. And another explanation that is that we will make the jhana impulsion moments have the same nature as the seeing consciousness. That means yogi will make the impulsion moments unaccompanied by attachment or hatred. So when Buddha said there will be only the seeing, ditte dittamatta means we must stop at just what is seen and not go over to taking it as a being or as a man or as a woman. It is very favorable when you are in the meditation retreat. And also yogi are not to have attachment or anger towards that visible object. In order to be able to do that, yogi have to be able to apply mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, or understanding with diligence. So when yogi reach the stage of vipassana knowledge, where yogi see the dissolution of phenomena, Pinganyana, and also yogi reach Sankaripikanyana, higher stages of vipassana knowledge, yogi will be able to stop at only what is seen and not let it go over. So yesterday is the story of Putila Thera. He was deputy god, but Buddha called him Tocha Putila, Tocha Putila. That means vain potila or useless potila. Now useless potila is sitting. Now useless potila is bowing down. Now docha potila going back. So Buddha said in this in like this. So it may be very tough. Potila, but Potila had Yoniso Manasikara. What Buddha said in like this, because even though he was Tipitaka, he did not get any megapala. So Buddha said in this way. So regarding this, there are 6 kinds of speech. Whether people like or dislike, when the speech is true and beneficial, Buddha talk in this way. So 6 kinds of speech. The first speech is, the speech is not true, not beneficial, not liked by other people. The kinds of speech Buddha never talk. Why? Because it's not true. Buddha always talk true. So when the speech is not true, Buddha never talk the kinds of speech. And the second one is the speech is not true, not beneficial, but people like. So in the world, many people talk like this. Their speech, their talk are not true, not beneficial, but people like very much. Another speech is, the speech is true, but not beneficial and not liked by other people. The kinds of speech Buddha never talk because it is not beneficial. Buddha never talk. Another one is the speech is true, liked by many people, but not beneficial. Buddha also did not talk like the kinds of speech because it is not beneficial. Another speech is, the speech is true and beneficial, but not liked by other people. Buddha talk the kinds of speech because it is true and it is beneficial for you, beneficial for other people, really beneficial. But the speech is very tough. People don't like. But Buddha talk the kinds of speech because it is a lot of benefits you can gain and it is true. Now Buddha called Tocha Potila, used the Potila, vain Potila. That is true because Potila did not get any megapala. So he is useless. It is beneficial for Potila because Potila had Yoni Samanasikara, wise reflection. Why Buddha called me like this? And he reflected upon this speech And then he knew that he did not gain any enlightenment. So he started to practice meditation. So it is beneficial for him, but the kinds of speech is very tough. Another speech is, the speech is true, beneficial, and liked by people. Of course, the kinds of speech is very good. It is true and beneficial, and also people like. So Putila decided to practice meditation to get Megapala, and he went to the forest. In the forest place, there lived 30 Arahants. The most senior Arahant did not give any instruction to Putila because he thought that Putila might be very proud. So he did not give him any instruction, but sent Putila to the other monk in seniority, and that monk did not did the same things, sending him to the monk next to him in seniority. So finally, he came to the last monk, who was only 7 years old, but who was an Arahant. But 7 years old Samanera Arahant not easily gave him instruction. He tried to test Putila had mana or no mana, pride or not pride. So 7 years old Samanera asked Putila to go to the pond, and this Putila followed his instruction. He entered into the pond until the edge of his robe got wet. Finally, the Samanera knew that he was obedient to practice meditation. So when we practice meditation, we need some factors before practicing meditation. Here, Tipitaka Putila had a quality of suvacha. Suvacha means obedient. So you know Metta Sutta. Metta Sutta mentioned some qualities of for the yogis before practicing meditation to be accomplished. So the first one is Sakko. Yogis must have faith in the practice, faith in the teacher. Yogi must be healthy. Yogi must practice diligently. A yogi must some understanding to the Dhamma. But healthy means if you have very good digestive power, and whatever you eat, you can digest the food. That means you are healthy. A teacher always encourage, try your vipassana practice until dying moment. So when we are dying, our physical energy are totally weak. We are dying moment. So at that moment, we have nothing to rely upon. At that moment, even at that moment, teachers encourage to practice because you are mentally healthy. Mentally healthy, so long as you have good mental health, you can practice meditation. So that is Sakko. Uju means upright. You must be upright. Honesty and uprightness of character are very important for the practice of meditation. You need to avoid Maya and Satya. Maya is hiding your bad things, twisting the condition. Satya means crafty or cunning character. That kinds of character need to be avoided. Yogi must be honest. Yogi must be upright. Suju, very upright. Sako, Uju, Suju, Suvajo, obedient. Now, Putila is very obedient, even though the Samanera, the teacher, is very young. He is ready to obey the instruction given by his teacher, Samanera. So the person who is stubborn and refuses to listen to good advice cannot get any progress. Suvajo and Mudu. Yogi must be gentle. So it is good for the yogi to be good humored and friendly and not be lazy in practice. Here gentle means gentle in the practice. And Natimani, yogi should not be proud. Yogi should not be conceited. So it is better to have a kind of attitude and not to be proud. And the Venerable Sariputta is one of the chief disciples of the Buddha. He came from a very noble family, but he practiced humbleness to a highest degree. Sometimes Samnira mentioned his mistake and he immediately followed the instruction of the samanera. So this is also very good quality. Yogi should not be proud. Yogi should not be conceited. Santosako, yogi should be easily contented. To be easily contented means to be satisfied with what you have, to be satisfied with what you can obtain, to be satisfied with what is suitable. So yogis need to be satisfied with food, clothing, medicine, and shelter. And also during the practice, contentment is really needed. Sometimes unpleasant sensation, be contented. Whatever coming to you, you need to accept. Pleasant sensation, also easily accept and let it go. So whatever condition, whatever phenomena come, yogi should be contented with the sensation. Then you can get concentration regarding these phenomena. Santosako Subaro. Subaro yogi should be easy to take care of. While yogi are practicing in the meditation center, you are being supported by the center, meals are cooked and provided for yogis. So mostly foods are very suitable for you. But sometimes you may not like the food. But yogi should be easy to take care of everything. Apakicha, yogi should have light living or few possession. So when yogi want to practice meditation, when yogi come to the meditation center, yogi should try to keep your distraction to a minimum. Here at the meditation center, it is easier to achieve. Having fewer distraction will make it easier for yogis' minds to come down and concentrate. In other places, you have many activities, but here you cut off many activities that are not necessary regarding the practice. And Sanlukavodi, yogi must have light living. Yogi also need to be moderate in your position. Most of you probably own many things in worldly, but you understand the more things you have, the more time you need to spend taking care of and maintaining all these properties. So if you think carefully about it, it is really a burden on the mind. As Santindriya, yogi should be controlled in your senses. So all the yogis are practicing seriously. All your senses are controlled. If outsider come and watch the yogi and very inspiring environment they feel, because yogis' behavior are totally controlled with the practice. Another one is Nipako. Yogi should be mature. Yogi should be wise. Another one is Abhagabo. Yogi should be polite and civilized. Another one is Kuleswa Nanugeda. Yogi should not be greedily attached to the family. It is also important. So you know these factors of the yogi in the Metta Sutta, Sakko, Uju, etc. Again, you need to remember these preliminary part for the yogis. Can you follow me? Yogi should be able, upright, very upright, obedient, gentle, not conceited. Yogi should be contented, easy to take care of. Yogi should have few activities. Yogi should have light living. Yogi should have few possession. Yogi should be controlled in all senses. Yogi should be wise. Yogi should not impudent. Yogi should not greedily attach to families. So in Metta Sutta, Buddha mentioned all the meditators should be accomplished before practicing meditation. This is Bhupa Bhaga Patipata, preliminary path for the yogis. Now 7 years old Samanera tested Bhuttila. He was obedient or not, and he knew that now Bhuttila had no mana, no pride, and whatever Samanera gave instruction, Bhuttila will follow the instruction correctly. So Samanera, 7 years old Samanera, gave instruction very brief. So one day, suppose there is a mound where an iguana or a lizard lives. Suppose there are 6 holes in the mound. In order to catch that lizard, you have to close the 5 holes, and you have to sit at the 6th hole to catch that lizard when it comes out. So this is my instruction for meditation. So very brief. There are 6 holes, and you have to close 5 holes, and you have to wait at the 6 holes. So what that means? You have to close the 5 senses, 5 doors. Divamuni, what are the 5 holes? Eye, 5 senses. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, 5 doors. And what is the 6 holes? Mind door. So you have to act at the mind door, or you have to act with the mind. So what the Samanera meant was not that you must close your eyes or you must close your ear in order to practice meditation, even though it may be possible to close your eyes and ears. It is impossible to close your nose, tongue, and body. So what Samanera meant was that whenever some objects is presented to these 5 senses, do not let there be Javana stage. Just stop at the Votapana, determining stage. Here Manodwara means, mind don't means what? Mind don't mean Votapana. Votapana, determining stage. That is mind door. So just stop at the mind door or just stop at the determining stage and then go over to the mind door and practice Vipassana meditation. So whenever an object is presented to him, Potila must try to stop the process of thought at the moment of decision and not to let it go over to Javana moments, impulsion stage. So Potila practiced according to this teaching. He knew what the Samanera meant. He must practice diligently so that he might not reach the stage of Javana. So it is possible to practice, possible to follow these instructions and stop the flow of moments of consciousness from reaching to the impulsion stage. It is very difficult. It needs a lot of practice, a lot of patience and perseverance. Now yogi are practicing it this way. So to understand this, we need to go to the witty process. So can you look at the chart, page number 4? So the objects are uh, 4 kinds of objects. The first objects are Atimanda. Atimanda is very great object, is number 1. Number 2 and number 3 are Mahanta, the great object. And number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are Preta, that is slight object. And 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, Atipreta, very slight object. So very great object. The first, they are flow, strings of Bowenga. life continues, your life is continuing. And then you have eye sensitivity, you open your eyes and you look at the visible object, and then the visible objects and eye sensitivity are flowing in this way. First, beaming past Bhuvenga, vibrational Bhuvenga, arrest Bhuvenga, then Pinchadwara Vijana, five door adverting, and then seeing consciousness or eye consciousness, and then receiving, investigating, determining, Javana impulsion 7 moments, and registration. Registration 2 times, Javana 7 times, so altogether 17 mind moments, 17 Chitakana. So the lifespan of Cheta is called Chitakana, the mind moment. So that moment is takes for lightning to flash or to the eyes to blink. Billions of mind moments can elapse. So in one Chitakana, there are 3 sub-moments: arising, upada, present, titi, and binga, dissolution. So it consists of 3 sub-moments in one Chitakana. So within the breath of a mind moment, a Cheta arises and performs its momentary function and then dissolve, conditioning the next Cheta in immediate succession. In this way, through the sequence of mind moments, the flow of Cheta continues uninterrupted, like the waters in the stream. So long as you have karma, so that the flow of Cheta continue. So there is 17 thought moments is the duration of your Chaku and Rupa, your eye sensitivity and visible object. So the object is called very great. Very great. In the process with a very great object, the object arises simultaneously with the arising sub-moments of the Atita Bhuvenga, Pas Bhuvenga. Since the sense object, visible objects and the eye sensitivity both have a duration of 17 mind moments. They both perish simultaneously with second registration Cheta. So their duration is 17 moments. At that time, your Jaku, Pasada, your eye sensitivity and visible objects totally disappear. Totally disappear. So this kinds of cognitive process runs for a full 17 mind moment. So this cognitive process is called Dadaramana Vara because that process ended with registration. Registration. So that is Atimanda, very great object. And then great object, Manda. Manda, this object is called great when it enters the avenue of sense after having passed and is unable to survive till the arising of registration, mind moments. There is no registration in the great object. So in that case, at the end of Javana impartition, there is subsistence into the life continuum and no arising of Dhāramana, no arising of registration in great object. And then slight object, so that is very important for the yogis. Slight object. So the visible object is even weaker in this process. Visible objects appear on the retina eye sensitivity after Atita Bhuvinga, past Bhuvinga occurs more than 3 times, or when it occurs for more than 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times. Atita Bhuvinga, how many Atita Bhuvinga? You see number 4, slight object number 4. Atita Bhuvinga, how many Atita Bhuvinga? 4 Atita Bhuvinga. So slight object number 4, Atita Bhuvinga 5, etc. And slight object number 9, Atita Bhuvinga, how many? 9. So 9. So Atita Bhuvinga 4 times to 9 times in the slight object. So it is very interesting. So in case of this object, before Javana occurs, so you can see in this slight object, are there any Javana? No Javana. No Javana. That is very good for the yogis. Now Samarira reminded the Putila, don't go to the Javana. Now Putila practice meditation and his practice, his consciousness do not reach to Javana. Do not reach to Javana. After Atita Bhuvinga, past Bhuvinga occur and more than 2 or 3 times after Votapana occurs. Whether 2 times or 3 times, Bhuvinga takes place again, and the process of consciousness is ceases by Votapana. So the process which ceases by Votapana is very useful for the yogis in the practice of strong vipassana. So in vipassana we call Pallava vipassana, strong vipassana. When yogi reach the stage of Binganyana and Sinkaripikanyana, what kinds of objects appear? The object is slight object. So now yogi are observing the presently arising phenomena, mental and physical phenomena with a rubric. So yogi don't care the object. Yogi cut out every object. Just necessary object, yogi accept it. And there's no desire for sensual objects because yogi reject all kinds of objects. Yogi cut every message, Yogi cut unnecessary episode. So that is the way to prepare for the yogis. There is no desire for objects because yogi knew that these objects may cause mental defilements to arise. Yogi is not looking for objects. Yogi do not search for sensual objects. A yogi do not pay attention to objects. A yogi do not keep them in mind. Yogi don't care the objects. So what happened? If you don't care the objects become slight. So visible objects are slow to appear at the five sense door for the yogis. So because avijjana or adverting consciousness does not occur strongly, when seeing, consciousness see the object. And the seeing consciousness is not very distinct. As sampadejana, receiving consciousness, which receive the object is not, is also not clear, because the object is very slow to come to the avenue of the eye sensitivity. A yogi concentration and mindfulness are strengthening, so they are disintegrating the phenomena. So sampadejana, receiving consciousness, is not clear. And santirana, investigating consciousness, cannot clearly investigate the object. Because santirana, when it is investigate, the phenomena are dissolving very fast. So santirana cannot clearly investigate the object. So Votapana, determining consciousness, cannot exactly evaluate the object. Votapana cannot exactly determine the object because the objects are disintegrating. In the initial stage of yogi practice, yogi cannot see these objects as they really are. But now, with the practice of diligence, concentration and mindfulness getting strengthened, yogi can discover the natural phenomena as they really are. So Votapana exactly cannot evaluate the dissolving phenomena. because the phenomena are dissolving. Yogis start to see. So if it cannot evaluate the object, then Javana does not have a chance to occur. No chance for Javana to occur. So after mind door, original consciousness, that is Votapana, after Votapana occurs how many times? 2-3 times. Votapana, slight object number 4, Votapana, determining consciousness how many times? 3 times. So slight object number 9, Votapana how many times? 2 times. So after Votapana 2 or 3 times, Bhuvinga consciousness, life continuum takes place again. This kind of object is not a clear object for kilesa to arise. Because objects are dissolving and objects are disintegrating, are there any form? No form, no shape, no man, no woman. The real phenomena, you can capture it at this stage. So Javana has no chance to arise. So for these objects, Javana have no chance to arise. For these objects which are only seen, yogi can understand the real phenomena that are dissolving, that are really unsatisfactory, and that cannot be called I or mine or myself. It cannot be called atta. So in this way, mental defilements, kilesa, cannot arise during the first viti, when yogi is only seeing, hearing, touching. So because of knowing the truth, true nature, after noting and observing, kilesa cannot arise in the subsequent mental process. So it is as though the objects cannot be seen. Yogi is totally purified from kilesa. It is according to the teaching, data, matamboisati. You see the objects, but as if you do not see. At that moment, kilesa cannot arise. So the object is called slight when it enters the avenue of sense after having passed and is unable to survive till the arising of the javana. So in the case, even javana impulsion do not arise, but the determining consciousness occur 2 or 3 times, and you see the visible objects. Normally, when you have eyes problem, you have glaucoma or cataracts, and the visible objects are very tiny and there's no light, the objects may be slight, But now, when you see the person, man or woman or other things, what you see is only dissolving phenomena or visible object. Visible objects you cannot see, man or woman. It is due to your vipassana knowledge, due to your strong mindfulness and concentration. You do not reach to the jhana stage, you stop at the Otabana or Manodwara determining consciousness. So slight object parita, number 4 and number 9. Can you follow me? In the slight object, the process is Bhavinga, pass Bhavinga 4 times, vibrational Bhavinga, arrest Bhavinga, 5 door adverting, eye consciousness, receiving consciousness, investigating consciousness, determining consciousness 3 times, Bhavinga 4 times, and it cease. So that is chaku eye sensitivity cease, and also visible objects cease. Here you see the objects, but you cannot say that is man or woman because you do not see any form or shape of the visible object. You see only visible objects disintegrating. And the slide object number 9, can you follow me? In the slide objects number 9, Bhavinga, pass Bhavinga 9 times, vibrational Bhavinga, arrest Bhavinga, 5 door adverting, 5 5 door adverting, eye consciousness, receiving consciousness, investigating consciousness, determining consciousness 2 times, and then Bhavinga and ceases. Caesar is stopped at that moment. Chaku pasara, eye sensitivity, and visible objects cease together simultaneously. So when you see something, due to your concentration and mindfulness is strong, you see the visible objects only, and you see the disintegrating, dissolving phenomena. There is no jhana. That is the very good stage for the yogis who reach the stage of Pinganyana and Sinkarupikanyana. They appear, they are not appear form or shape or something. So that is the instruction of the 7 years old Samanera, and that is according to the Buddha mind. Data matter, there will be only the seen with regard to what is seen. With the others, we should understand in this way. Sutta matan, there will be only the heart regarding the heart. So when you hear something, stop at just hearing. Do not take it as permanent. Do not take it as pleasing, or do not take it as displeasing. But just stop at hearing. Just stop with the hearing consciousness after the Votapana, determining consciousness, and let it go there. Here also, it will be possible to stop at hearing and not go over to the Javana stage. Yes, it is possible, but again, it is very, very difficult. Because we are used to hearing sounds and making judgment on these sounds, now yogis have many problems with the sounds. So you cannot sleep because somebody make a sound and you cannot practice well. Somebody make the sounds, so a lot of sound problems for the yogis. And we are used to hearing sounds and making judgment on every sound, so much so that it is almost impossible for us to stop at just hearing. So hearing is a very complex process. It is not just one moment of hearing. There are different moments of hearing. There are different moments of consciousness, different moments of thought involved in one act of hearing. Now when you hear something, some noise, you don't just hear the noise, you also determine where the noise comes from, who noise it is, how far it is, from which direction the sound comes, and whether it comes from a faraway place or my neighbor, you determine. So also if you are familiar with the sound, you can determine if it is the sound of an engine, sound of a motorbike, sound of an ambulance, sound of the person, sound of animals, and so on. So all these, your mind computes in just a fraction of a second. Then you can say that you hear the sounds of an aeroplane, etc. So in a fraction of a second, you can compute all these things in your mind very, very quickly. So you do not hear just a sound or noise, but you also hear all these details. So in here the sound, there runs the same series of thought processes. When you practice meditation, yogi should be able to stop at just hearing, at just what is heard, and not go over to the jhana stage, impulsion stage. It is difficult, but you need to train. Even though you not reach the Binganyana or Sinkaripikanyana, dissolution stage or equanimity stage, if you train, you can be patient with the sound, no problem with the sound. So when we talk about these things, the working of our mind, we have to magnify things so we can understand well, just as when scientists explain about the structure of an atom, they use illustration that they magnify maybe billions of times. So in the same way, yogi have to magnify thought moments billions of times so that you can see or you can understand the working of the mind. So with regard to the heart, there will be only the heart. With regard to the reached, there will be only the reached. When yogi smells something, When you taste something, when you touch something, there are also these kinds of thought processes. With regard to the cognized, there will be only the cognized. Cognized here means those cognized by mind and not directly by the five senses. So the instruction here is just be mindful. Just apply mindfulness with diligence constantly so that you can stop at just what is seen, what is heard, and so on. That is because if we cannot stop there, if we cannot stop at just what is seen, we surely reach the stage of jhana, impulsion, and also the later stages of seeing, hearing, and so on. So we will have attachment, we will have aversion, we will have delusion with regard to all these objects. When there is aversion or when there is attachment, what happens? There will be what we call karma formation. When there are karma formation, there are bound to be becomings or rebirths, jati. When there is jati, there will be aging, sickness, physical suffering, mental suffering. So cycle of suffering goes on and on and on and on. If we cannot stop at just what is seen, what is heard, and so on. So in order to stop these rounds of rebirth from going rounds and rounds in samsara, we have to do something at the moment of seeing, hearing, and so on. So vipassana is concerned with primarily what is at the present moment. For a vipassana yogis, the present moment is the most important, especially in the beginning stages. The yogis only takes care of what is at the present moment. Later, when you reach the higher stages, you may practice vipassana on things of the past, things of the future, when you reach the higher stage of vipassana. However, yogi cannot practice on things of the past or things of the future if you have no direct experience of the present, no direct knowledge of the impermanence, unsatisfactory, and non-self of the present. So what is important is to see the present as impermanence, unsatisfactory, and unsubstantial or uncontrollable. So from the impermanence of the present objects, you infer that the past must be impermanent. The future must be impermanent. You can infer. So what is important for the Vipassana yogis is the present moment. Yogi must not lose mindfulness at any moment. That is because if we lose mindfulness at any moment, we will grasp at the objects that we see or that we hear and so on. When there is grasping, there are karma formation, sankhara, and so on, and we will suffer again and again. So it is important not to miss to note anything when it is present, and now yogi are very careful in noting. So we continue tomorrow. We have to stop our discuss for today by practicing vipassana meditation by observing, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, knowing, rising, falling, continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. So